and welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother, the sorcerer, Monasul. In the name of the Watchers, be welcome. In the name of the gods, be welcomed. Today I wanted to do a video on the Covenant of Silence, breaking the silence, and the sign of silence. To do this, let's first go into a handy-dandy Simon Necronomicon. Page 13. Down, third paragraph down. These secrets I give to thee at the pain of my life, never to be revealed to the profane, or to the banished, or the worshippers of the ancient serpent, but to keep within thine own heart, always silent upon these things. Adequate that we start video off like that. And the covenants, the one that rules over the word and over the breath, is Enlil. And so, when you're talking about, discussing things magical nature-wise, for example, for this example, Simon Necronomicon, you're supposed to not show it to others and so forth and so on, and, keep it to yourself. Talk about terrible curses upon thee and all this other stuff. But what does that actually mean? What does, the normal practitioner supposed to garner from that, supposed to do with that? Well, first off, if you've been following my videos, I was doing, showing the different covenants and things, and how you create covenants with the great ones, with Gishbar, the fire god, Anki, Enlil, so forth and so on. Well, if you go back to those videos where I was talking about the covenants, I never made a covenant that I would stay silent on these things. Does this mean that there is no broad overlapping covenant that I am bound to if I assign myself to the symbol of the aura? And am I not bound to that same covenant? Of course I am. However, what I did was, years and years ago, I wanted to learn something so that I could share it with the world, so I could teach it to others, so forth and so on. Because I had one desire in mind, that the gods may walk again. And for the gods to walk again, you must remind the people of the gods, who the gods are, where the gods come from, so forth and so on. And with the Necronomicon, the methods, the ways to do that are there. With that in mind, so then you go and you think, well, who is able to talk about these things? Well, let's keep this simple, because I like keeping shit very, very simple. As simple as possible, anyway. Some things you really have to get out there with. But in this one, let's try to keep it simple. Against the profane. Who are the profane? Well, if you think about it this way. Okay, like my mother and my father. Stout Christians. Would I tell them about it? Would I show them? Oh, hell no. Is it because I fear persecution? Sort of, kind of, I guess. I reckon. And are we not supposed to be fearless then, and supposed to believe what it is that we believe, and to do what we do, despite what anyone else thinks, feels, believes, etc., etc., etc.? Of course. But then common sense comes into play. I'm not trying to start an argument or a war with my parents when I was coming up. So I kept it to myself. I was keeping silent about it. So my studies went, unbothered. No one paid me any attention. They didn't know what I was doing. So I was studying. I was learning. And I was doing the rites. In this day and age, we like to feel like we're somebody. We like to feel like we're something, besides this. Everybody likes to feel good about themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. You should always feel good about yourself. Well, with this in mind, when someone first enters upon magical paths, they become just inflamed with just the spirit of life and just, just wanting to be. I don't care if they just starting off a path of Satanism. They're a born-again Christian, if, they're a newfound Buddhist or, pagan or Wiccan or whatever. Everybody's excited. But that fire, that is when practitioners are at their most vulnerable, is when they first open up. And the reason why is because there are so many cruel people out there, so many mean people that would tell them they're wrong, that would make fun of them, that would shut them down before they ever got off their feet good. And this is why it should be expressed that, you should keep these things to yourself. Not out of fear of the persecution and, witches being burned at stakes and stuff like this and so forth and so on. With all things, a little bit of common sense, Would I go outside my door, set up a booth with neon signs saying, "Here be pagans," and celebration posters and stuff like that? No. Because where I'm in the Bible Belt, just wouldn't do that. That kind of gets you the wrong attention. And if you're someone like me, you don't need the fanfare. I don't need the attention. Not because you're ashamed, not because you're scared, no. But because to be unbothered, to be unburdened by things that can happen. A lot of the reasons why you keep things to yourself, keep it quiet, is because there's a lot of haters out there. I don't understand why there's so many haters on the Necronomicon. A lot of people saying that it's fake, that it's a hoax, that it's HP, that it's this, that it's that. And a lot of them are like, I tried it, it didn't work, it didn't do anything. Well, yeah. Thankfully, the book does have a tendency to weed out the garbage. It has a way of separating the wheat from the chaff. It does do that very well. You're not called to it. It's just not going to work for you. It's just not. And for those who are not called to it, but who can work it, they're very skilled. They're skilled practitioners indeed, because it's just magic. It's what it is. It's a magical system that has deep roots and deep ties and deep connotations that are well beyond your normal way of thinking. But let us stay on topic, though. But, the whole to keep silent. To keep silent. I sit here and I think, I make these videos and that's not keeping silent. I explain how to do these things. I deconstruct and break them down for you to understand. I'm not keeping silent. But see, the people who run across these kind of videos, there are two types. There are the trolls who are just going to hate on you and just a bunch of crap and call you names and say that you have no idea and that it's not real and that you need to find Jesus. It's interesting how the Christians keep losing Jesus. I've not figured that out. But, aside from all that, I would think duct tape them, maybe, I don't know. Put him somewhere where you're not going to lose the guy. Because they keep saying, "Have you found Jesus?" It's like, you guys lose him again? Oh, man. Dude, seriously. You want me to do a location spell? Like, I can use my pendulum. We'll figure out where he ran off to this time. And I'm sorry, that's humor, but it's good-natured humor. Because I have nothing against their God. I have nothing against their Jesus. I have nothing against any of them. I have my own beliefs, my own practices, my own faith, my own traditions. I don't have to crush others to feel good about myself or to feel strong in my convictions, my beliefs, my practices, because they're mine. And you should be the same way. But anyway, back to what I was saying though. And you got all these people that they want to troll you and they want to trash talk you and all this other stuff. Well, all right. That's their thing. You got to ignore. You can close down your comment section, I suppose, on your YouTube channel, or you whatever. You can remove it, which is what I like doing. It's just removing. But the thing is that, and then the other type of people that you have are the truth seekers. They're the ones who, if they weren't curious, they wouldn't have typed in Necronomicon on YouTube. They're the ones who wouldn't have said, "What is the Watcher?" on YouTube. put in keywords and stuff and then look up videos and stuff. So people who come across these things, who find these things, they're interested, so forth and so on. Therefore, it is not to the profane that I am showing these things, I'm teaching these things. Now, do I have fears and hesitations? Yes, I do. Do I think that this is a thing for children or childlike minds who've not emotionally developed? I'm always afraid of that. Because, we are our brother's keepers. We really are, We got to actually care for one another to be able to care for ourselves, I don't know if that makes any sense or if I'm just beating a dead horse with that one. But, you got to think of it this way. These powers and these forces, they respect you the way you respect yourself. They treat you the way you treat yourself. And the way you treat yourself is usually symbolized by the way you treat others, by the way you interact with the world around you. If the world is a non-scary place, if the world is a place of, free of fear, free of judgment, so forth and so on, when you call forth an abomination, when you call forth a demon, when you call forth the ancient one or an old one, they come. And they come without hesitation, and they come without destruction in their wake. Yes, certain powers, they do have certain abilities, like Pazuzu or Humawa, Bara. Because I'm not trying to accidentally call them. You got to be careful when you say things names. It's kind of like the childhood thing of say the devil's name 3 times and he appears. Yeah, well, with the Necronomicon, you don't really have to say it 3 times. Sometimes just saying a thing's name gets its attention, whether you want to or not. And if it's a named thing, after you get done saying its name, you say Badara, to leave the temple. Do not come near. Be away. Go away. Now, if you were to call like a group, like for example the Dread Anunnaki, it wouldn't end with Badara, because that's for a singular deity or entity. And then it's Eden Nazu, which means go to the desert. Which I'm not trying to get into a lesson thing, but hey, that's kind of cool if you catch everything I just said. Implement it into your practice. It'll help you. It really will. I personally, I think it took me years to learn that when you say something's name, it comes. It comes whether you believe it or not. Its forces, its implements. I like to think that the bigger something is, the more of an entourage it has with it. It's the little things that actually cause havoc in your world, not the big thing. Because, like, for example, take a crocodile. Crocodiles would be like the big monster, the big thing that you're trying to get. It'll be kind of deadly if it's coming after you, and you're out there trying to swim in a watering hole or something, and it just comes up, you're in trouble. Let's say you escape it, that's fine. And now, the little birds that eat the food out from between its teeth, they're not dangerous in a sense, but I'm just trying to give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. It's the little things that come with the big things. They eat the remains, the leftovers, whatever the big thing didn't eat, or, or a crumb or something, they eat it. Well, normally, those are the things that actually start to tear and wear at the practitioner. It's usually not the big thing. And once again, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I want to throw out these details, because they're very important to understand and very important to know. And this come on full circle, and then we come back to people, how people are, and then it's keeping silence and how this works. When you're trying to get on your YouTube and you want to share something, you want to get something out there. You're going to have those little things. You just are. I may be calling out for the true practitioners, true seekers who really want to know. want to watch my video, I'd love to Skype with you. I'd love to teach you what I know, to share what I got, so forth and so on. Drop me a line on here. I'll be more than glad to hook up with you on Skype, talk with you. Maybe we can teach each other something. Because no matter, if I've been doing this 22 years, I'm still learning stuff. Guys, this, it's the beauty of the system is that you don't know everything. I may consider myself a bit of an adept, but an adept doesn't mean a master. An adept means somebody who understands it on a personal level of how it works for them, of all the things involved in it, so forth and so on. But seeking mastery and perfection of the self in a system, these things, they take time. And, when you might not do it in one lifetime, But getting back on subject, though, to keeping silent, in high magic ceremony or magic flame and golden dawn, I have a symbol for silence that is used in the ritual. It's a sign of Hippocrates, if you will. And it symbolizes to be silent. It is also a command to the inner world, silence, so that you can enter into a magical mindset. And with that silence says it all. Because if you cannot still your mind, you can still your emotions. If you cannot just hold them steady and still, silent, if you will. Because you need that stillness to be able to stir just the right thing that you're wanting, the right force, the right power. And that's how it works. The sign of silence, it is a banishing. It's an exorcism of sorts. It's a command to tell yourself to shut the hell up. You don't want to hear it. It's also another form of Bara or Edna Zoot. Be gone, go to the desert, whatever. But it removes it from you. And so take this into consideration when you're talking about the Necronomicon. Don't just go out, I'm going to go show my best buddy this, blah, 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 because it sounds really cool. What you could accidentally be doing is introducing destruction into their life. Usually people who are meant to find it, who will find it, they find it on their own, And as far as, whether you're supposed to discuss the book with others, whether you're supposed to blah, 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 yakety schmackety, I kind of think of it this way. Everybody's always got questions. Hell, I have questions. The only way to get the answers, you can meditate, you can talk to spirits, everything else, and you can do rites for the answers to come to you, and so forth and so on. But one of the surest ways is to connect with other practitioners, other people who are walking the same path, who are doing the same work, who are trying to figure it out themselves. Because for every answer I have 10 questions I have no answers for. For every answer you have 10 questions you have no answer for. And that was supposed to have been the concept of the Black Tower, is a place where all the sorcerers, priests of the system, magicians, magi, workers of it, where we could all come together and share what we know together. There's no pecking order. There's no, oh, you're the great Pumbaa, you're the leader. No. That's why when I start my videos, I say, welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother. Because that's what I am. Host the channel. I guide to the best of my ability. And I'm always your brother. Because in this tradition, this is what I say, we are our brother's keepers. We have to take responsibility for what we tell and share and show others. We have to take responsibility for that. Now, we're not exactly responsible if somebody doesn't understand and goes out and left out and does something stupid. But we can be like, this should not be considered medicine. Go to a doctor, go to a therapist, go to whatever, so forth and so on. Take at your own risk. All the warnings. I mean, they give them to you left and right. And it's really weird that we live in a world where we have to do that. But can you imagine maybe it's been like that all along? We only just now take into consideration our actions and our words and the result or the effect they have on the world around us. You know, I wish nothing but the best for any of you. Peace and blessings. I want you to go out and do something stupid? Absolutely not. Common sense, love, peace, calmness, man. Just, be there. And then it brings us to a very interesting concept of working with the Igigi, with shells and so forth and so on, and shades of the dead, and all these other powers and forces that are so dark and so they can be destructive. Is all get out, you know. But you have to understand how to balance the powers within as well as without. The only true demons that you will face in this system are the ones you bring with you. If you have not worked through something, it will turn into a monster on this path. It will become your bane. And so in shamanism, where you have to heal and cleanse yourself, or even in Native American traditions where they cleanse and heal with good medicine, you have to be aware of those things in the system, because they can bring out the good in a person and they can bring out the worst in a person. It's not to be feared, it's just supposed to be respected, known, and understood. And with that in mind, I wish to welcome each and every one of you to another beautiful day. Just about 2/3 of a day left until this blood moon, this super moon, blue moon, all this cool stuff. That's going to be awesome. And in the silence, you sit there and you think, well, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm doing magically. Well, that's smart. You shouldn't. Those kind of things, you should keep those directly to yourself. Matter of fact, I only tell certain people certain things, depending on what it is and whether or not it's anything to them. And sometimes I just tell them because, I just in a conversation like, oh, well, I'm going to do a rite for blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, well, let's go. I did a rite for such and such. Or I'm going to, And that's friendly conversation. That's passing back and forth. But that's a sacred trust to hold that kind of knowledge of somebody. And then when you stop and you think about the attacks and how we wish ill on one another, what the hell is wrong with you? Dude, if people would worry more about what they're doing than about what somebody else is doing, you want to be great and you want to be famous and you want to be this and you want to be that, work on getting that. But bashing and destroying somebody else, sending harmful energy and spells and works against them, if they've done nothing to you, dude, just remember one thing. The gods, they do watch after their own. And that's just a simple truth. And for those of you out there who deal with these things, I don't know why I don't deal with them. I'm thankful I don't. I'm very thankful for that. I thank the gods every day, But for those of you out there who do have to deal with these things, start watching your words. Watch who you're talking to. Watch what you're talking about. So forth and so on. To control the flow of words, not necessarily shut down and cut off. Just control exactly what you say. Because in the end, that is the true secret of keeping silent. Till next time.